Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Carrie Paxton Lamke, Community Engagement Manager for the City of Sugar Land. I want to welcome you to the public engagement meeting for the Greatwood Village Drainage Improvement Project. We're going to give it about 30 more seconds to a minute to allow others to enter the meeting. So you could just be patient. We greatly appreciate it, but we welcome you to our virtual public meeting. Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. I'd like to introduce Jorge Alba, our senior engineer here at the City of Sugar Land. He's also the project manager for this Greatwood Village Drainage Improvement Project. He's going to give you all a presentation. And if you have any questions, feel free to enter those into the chat feature at the bottom of your screen. We will get to those at the end of the meeting. Jorge, you may go ahead and present.
Thank you very much, Carrie. Good afternoon, everybody. So this is actually the first update on the Greatwood Village Drainage Improvement Projects, which is Project CIP CDR 2106. And before I start, let me give you a little bit of background on this project. Is it working? Okay, there you go. So you may all remember during May 7, 2019, we have a severe storm event in the city of Sugar Land that affected mostly Greatwood, that received more than 13 inches of rain in a period of about 9 hours. The entire area got or experienced severe street ponding, but Greatwood Village in particular, in addition to street ponding, they experienced structural flooding. Many homes got flooded during that storm event. So this project actually will address that excessive ponding and the structural flooding issues, specifically in the Greatwood Village area. This project is part of the 2019 GeoBond project and will be funded by the GeoBond that was passed in 2019, and it will be funded out of the FY21. The design was completed by Cobb Fenley in July 21, and the project was bid in September and approved by City Council in October. So we are ready to start construction this month. So just to give you a little bit of information, the project location obviously is all contained within the Greatwood Village area. So it's bounded to the west by Crab River Road, to the south by Salisbury Boulevard, to the east by the Greatwood Parkway, and to the north by the Middle Bayou Lead 11 Bayou. Oops, sorry, went too far. Okay. So the existing stormwater system in the area is depicted in this picture. I don't expect you to read everything there because it's kind of small, but in general, most of the stormwater system goes from 24 inches all the way to outfall at 60 inches, outfalling into Middle Bayou. So the system is a little bit undersized for the requirements, for the design requirements. So that is one of the issues that we are going to improve the stormwater system. Also, as you may know, most of the area or the whole area has BB inlets. Those BB inlets in storm events, in severe storm events, tend to clog very easily, and they are not very efficient. So part of the project also is to replace all the BB inlets in the entire neighborhood. So just to give you an idea, when we did all the analysis of the needs and the ponding issues in the area, so for the 10-year ponding, assuming gravity outfall, that means that the Middle Bayou doesn't have any tailwater, so that there is a gravity outfall into the river. This is kind of the level of ponding that we'll see in this area. So in general, what we are going to see is ponding that exceed 1 foot of ponding in most of the street, the one that you see kind of shaded in blue. In the case of the 100-year ponding event, again, with gravity outflow, so no tailwater on Middle Bayou, now we see ponding that are on top of 2 feet in the area. So you see darker blue areas, especially in the street that are to the west of the neighborhood. Now, the situation is slightly different when we have the gates closed and basically there is tailwater. inside Middle Bayou, and that is when the pump stations or when the lead has to pump the water inside. For the 10-year event, we see darker blue. So now we are seeing ponding that goes from anywhere from 2 to 3 feet for the 10-year event. And ponding that is kind of the situation that we saw on May 7, that we see ponding for the 100-year that exceed the capacity of the system, and ponding on the streets outside the right of way. We see ponding on top of 3 to 5 feet that produces the structural flooding, as you remember, for that day. So what we are going to do, let me go to the map here, is we are going to basically upsize all the stormwater system in the area. So we are going to replace all the inlets in the neighborhood, so approximately 36 inlets. And also the areas marked in red here, which basically will be Cypress Village Drive, Laurel Drive, Honeysuckle Lane, Millwood Drive, Alderwood, and Morningside Drive. We are going to upsize the stormwater system. So now what was 24 is going to be increased to 36, and so on. 48 are going to be increased to 54 inches. The 60 inches outfall will be increased and modified to a 66 inches outfall. So the entire area is going to see a much better stormwater system, and we are going to modify the outfall coming into the Middle Bayou, Fort Bend County Lead 11. Also, as I mentioned, we are going to replace all the BB inlets that I showed you in a previous picture. We are going to replace them with C1 type inlets, in a few cases with C2 type inlets. They are more efficient. They tend not to clog during a big stormwater event, so the whole system is going to be working much better. So what the modeling is showing is after we complete these improvements, this is the ponding for the 10-year event. And just to refresh your memory, in any stormwater system, the pipes actually are designed for the 2-year storm event. Anything above the 2-year storm event, the streets are used as a channel if you want to convey that water within certain parameters, obviously. But so you can expect on any storm event that is above 2 years that there will be some level of ponding on the street, but not ponding that will produce structural flooding or excessive ponding that will last too long that people cannot enter or leave the neighborhood. So for the particular case of the 10-year, we reduce the ponding to basically less than a quarter of a foot to no more than half a foot ponding. And for the 100-year event, you see that it's very localized ponding and is less than a foot of ponding, or actually less than half a foot of ponding. So basically it's all contained within the right of way of the street. So no structural flooding after we complete with all the improvements, all the drainage improvements. So a little bit of the project schedule. As I mentioned before, the project was bid in September of this year and approved by City Council. So we provide notice to proceed to the contractor in November 2021. They are scheduled to start construction on November 29. Substantial completion is expected to take approximately 10 months. So we are expecting this project to be completed in October 2022. Some of the project's impacts that you are going to see, we are going to have partial road closures and detours. We are not completely tearing apart any single road, only half the road to put the new stormwater system. So all the streets will continue having access through the entire duration of the project. However, some driveway will have access limitation during a period of times. We are going to limit the amount of work to no more than 4 driveways, maximum 5 driveways at the time. And that will be for a period of about 2 weeks that those 4 or 5 driveways won't have access. But we will let the residents know when we are going to be working in their segment of the driveways so they can plan ahead for that. Mail delivery won't be a big issue because you have central boxes. And again, we are allowing at least half the street to be passable at all times. So it shouldn't be any issues with mail delivery. And we are working with environmental services to make sure that any trash pickup or any effect on the trash pickup will be taken into account. In a couple of cases, we may have to have temporary water service interruption that's only for a couple of neighbors that will have to do some rework in areas that will affect the water lines, but that won't last more than a day in each case, and we let those neighbors know ahead of time when we are going to take the water service. As per the policy CO 110, we will be notifying all the residents and all the areas that are going to be affected First of all, we are going to have public outreach meetings. We already have 2 meetings with the Levy District 11. We have 1 meeting on April and 1 in June. We are having this meeting with the Homeowner Association, and we'll have at least 1 or 2 more meetings in the future to give you an updates on the progress of the project. We also will have this project listed in our website, in our capital improvements project map that you can go and see the actual progress on the project. We will make letters to all the residents that are going to be affected. We will have message signs and the entrance to the subdivision. And in a particular area where we are going to be working, like I mentioned to you, that we are going to be affecting driveways or water lines or whatever, we will have door hangers at those particular residents. So they will have exact information on what's going on. And we'll have either myself or our inspector one-on-one communications on any particular situation. I wanted to mention that since the area is 100% residential, there are not really any city park or any school or anything. It will be very hard for the contractor to have a lay down yard area. So we coordinated with the Levy District and with the HOA to obtain permission from both to basically have a lay down area north of Alwood Drive, right there on the bank of the Midway Bayou. So we are going to lay down in that area and have a 10-foot, I would say, access road, temporary access road, gravel access road to that lay down area yard where the contractor can store materials during the length of the project and equipment. Most of the material that he's going to be using, he's going to be bringing them to the job site right when he needs it. So this area is not going to have an excessive amount of materials or anything like that. Basically, whatever he's going to be using during the 1 or 2 days, but he will have to keep his equipment at night and during the weekends stored in this area. The area will be secure and it won't have any access from any part of the neighborhood. So with this, I want to mention that in our website, you can check your construction notifications. If you go into CV alerts and sign up for construction notifications, you will be getting any news or work that we're going to be doing in these specific areas. Also, you can access the CIP story map. As I mentioned, it has the map of the entire city of Sugar Land, but specifically to your area. We'll show the project. We show any situation that is going on with the project, any contact information to contact myself or the inspector at the site, so you can communicate with me that way. Or you can contact directly the engineering department and ask for me at 275-2780, or email me at jalba@sugarlandtx.gov. So that's basically the information I have to share with you today. If you have any question.
Okay, thank you, Jorge. I see one question right now in our chat box. It says, I live at the corner of Alderwood and Briar Meadow for the past 24 years. Briar Meadow seriously needs additional storm drains as water pools in front of my driveway, and indeed my garage flooded during the storm. Can you address how these improvements should impact that situation?
Yeah. So number one, with the replacement of the inlets, as I mentioned before, the type C inlets are more efficient. They don't clog. So water won't be sitting on the street excessive amount of time. So that will improve the time that the water takes to get into the actual stormwater system. And number two, with the areas where we are replacing a stormwater system that is basically in the outfalls into Middle Bayou, that will help moving that water from the streets into basically the lead facility, so they can actually get rid of that water faster. So we are making the system more efficient, and that is going to help the entire neighborhood, not only the areas where we are upsizing the stormwater system, but the whole neighborhood, because it will be more efficient. Instead of having to wait for that water to get to the street, sit on the inlet for too long before it goes into the stormwater system, it will improve the time of concentration, as we call, of that water to get out of the streets.
Thank you, Jorge. Do we have any other questions? All right, another question. The slope and angle of Briar Meadow pushes all water into a single storm drain in the middle of the length of the road. This is a comment.
Yes, and the way the system is built right now, the A stormwater system is actually under the sidewalks. And that's one of the things that is not helping much. We are actually going to abandon that system and just keep it there for storage. And we are building a brand new system under the street. That again, is going to have a much better hydraulic efficiency, and it's going to work much better in that situation.
Okay, thank you. Do we have any other questions from attendees? You may enter your question into the chat box. And if you think of something after the meeting, you are welcome to email me and I can forward this on to Jorge. I'm going to go ahead and add my email address, the community engagement.
I think there were a couple of questions. You want me to address that?
Another question, Jorge, when can we expect to see construction start?
Yes, we are going to start construction on November 29. So you probably will start seeing the contractor moving equipment and getting ready probably on the week of November 22nd. Probably those 2-3 days right before Thanksgiving, you may see some movement, but the week after Thanksgiving, that's when we're going to start the project.
Everybody's going down.
Okay, thank you again, Jorge. For those of you attending at Greatwood Residence, I also wanted to let you all know that we have council members who have taken time out of their busy schedule to attend today. Council member Carol McCutcheon, William Ferguson, and Jennifer Lane. So thank you very much for attending. And again, you see my email there, clamp@sugarlandtx.gov in the chat box. If you have any questions, you think of something this evening or tomorrow, you feel free to email me and I can pass that on to Jorge and we'll get back with you. Thank you very much. I hope you all have a nice afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you.